Hey everyone, it's Steph. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be continuing my romance tropes discussions with a recommendation video specifically about books that take place in the workplace where these romances blossom. So, if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fun bookish content from me. Thank you so much for watching, and we're going to dive right in. Our first workplace relationship takes place in a typical office. This is Falling for Your Boss by Emma St. Clair. This is about a woman who works at a company, and this gentleman ends up coming in and taking over as CEO. And what he tends to do is come into companies, stay there for a year or two, and really get the company back on its feet. And then he sells it for a profit and moves on to the next venture. He ends up starting to fall for one of the women who works in the company. So we get to see the problems that occur with that. And then they end up starting to see each other outside of work for various reasons. And we get to see some things about his past, see some things about him that we get to learn only when he's outside of work, and we get to see the challenges and the obstacles that they face as they get to know one another. There are quite a few, some expected and some not, so that's really fun to see how those twists and turns work out. And then we also get to see a major age gap in the story. It was a great story, great character development, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Next up we have Waiting for Tom Hanks. This is a story that takes place primarily on a film set where we have a woman who is trying to create her own movie script and working as an assistant to the director, and she ends up meeting one of the stars of the movie. And then these meet cutes happen and these things keep happening that makes her life feel a little bit like a Tom Hanks rom-com. But of course this is real life and things don't always go as smoothly as they do in the movies. So we get to see how that impacts the development of the story, the development of the relationship, and get to see what that means for the possibility of romance in this story. So I thoroughly enjoyed this, and definitely something fun and lighthearted, and lots of references to the Nora Ephron / Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks era of movie comedies. Next up we have True to You by Becky Wade. This is a great story that features a woman, Nora, who works with ancestry research and family history, and what she ends up doing is meeting a gentleman who is looking into his parents, and specifically his father, and being able to find him and learn some things about his family's past. So they end up going on this journey together, which involves several road trips at times, in order to search and find materials that are out of town in other places of the state, and then ultimately going out of state on a little bit of a road trip in order to get to the bottom of the secrets that he's trying to uncover in his family history. Meanwhile, they're starting to have an attraction for one another, but their relationship is supposed to be merely professional, so that is what they are maintaining it as, although they have underlying feelings for one another. So things ensue, and it's a great workplace romance story. It's not in the typical office environment, but it's still a place where she has been hired for a service to provide for him, so there's definitely a professional workplace mentality when it comes to their relationship. So definitely something that was very enjoyable to read about. Next up we have Healing Hearts. This is a story that is so good about a woman. This is a Western mid-1800s story. We have this woman who comes to town and she thinks she's been hired to work there as a nurse, and it turns out that she's actually an accidental mail order bride. The only problem is the gentleman who ordered a mail order bride is the town doctor. So they end up agree to work together, even if it's a bit awkward, in order to service the people of the town, because very few medical experts are out there in that area of the country in this day and age. So they work together. She has some difficulties with earning the town's respect, since the town views her as the woman who jaded or, messed with their doctor's heart. So they have some issues accepting her at first, but we get to see some secrets from her past in particular, a little bit with his past, and we get to see how these two, as they work together and as they care for the people in the town, how that relationship grows into something more than a professional relationship. So, something that was so well done. Loved the story and these characters, and it is so worth the read. If you're even remotely interested, definitely check this book out. Next up we have The Match by Sarah Adams. I've talked about this before as being a funny, cute romance, but this does have a workplace component because she works for a service dog company. He ends up being interested in considering a service dog for his daughter. So then these two have to work together in order to determine how a service dog could be appropriate for his daughter, and then eventually training his daughter and her dog how to work together in order to create the safest and most independent environment for her and her disability. So it's a really great story about disability representation, service dogs, and that whole industry. And you just have so much respect for the people who raise and train these dogs in order to provide them with the skills that enable others with disabilities to live independent lives. So good. Love this story. And we have this workplace component where they are working together in a very professional capacity while starting to notice an attraction to one another. So that's a fun story and definitely one that's well worth reading. Last but not least, we have a man we're shaving for. So this is in the workplace. She ends up working at this company and he ends up coming in to kind of revitalize the company and restructure some things. And she's not sure if her job is on the line while also admitting an attraction to him, and he has an attraction to her. But he is there strictly to help the company kind of pick its feet back up after it's been kicked down. So trying not to acknowledge attraction to one another, but attraction is there and they're in the workplace. So it's a great romance story, and it was fun to see how this story unfolded because you weren't quite sure which direction it was going to go for a little bit and how things were going to work out. So it was fun to see that story come to a conclusion. So that wraps up this list of workplace romances. If there are any that I left off, please definitely let me know in the comments. More book recommendations that take place in the workplace, and I will chat with you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day!